Hello everyone. So today I wanted to show you what I use to learn vocabulary. Vocabulary, as a lot of my students will know, is something I hold very dear. It's something I consider to be the building blocks of a language. So even if you understand the grammatical rules and your English is very good technically, if you don't have enough words, it's very difficult to communicate still. Or maybe you'll be able to understand what people are saying, but it would be very difficult to respond to them. For that reason, we learn vocabulary. And vocabulary has lots of different methods in which you can learn it. And these vary greatly depending on person to person. Because some people like to learn via reading, for example, which is a great method. Some people like to just look at words and try and memorize them. Not such a great method, quite tricky. Some people, like myself, like to use apps such as Memrise, Anki, maybe Quizlet, things like that. And most of these apps, so particularly Memrise and Anki, they will use something called spaced repetition system. So you'll often see it abbreviated to SRS, and that just means spaced repetition systems. So to say exactly what that means, it's basically spaced. So when you see a word again, the time interval will be spaced out. Repetition. So repetition means to repeat something. So the interval in which you see a word repeated, and it's a system. So it's a system that keeps track of the words for you when you need to see them again, when you maybe don't need to see them. So to give you an example, let's say I looked at a list of 10 words and I decided I wanted to learn all 10 of those words in one sitting. I would then go through those words, see how many I got correct, how many I had incorrect, and the app will automatically notice that for me. So if there's a word that I kept spelling incorrectly, or I didn't quite have the meaning correct, it will remember that that word is difficult for me. That word would then go to a pile that's automatically sorted by the app. That would be listed as a difficult word. But not only that, it means that when revising, so on the app, we have like review, and it's very, very important to do the reviews. And the reviews will take place depending on how well you know the word. So if we're looking at the word that I mentioned that we kept spelling incorrectly, or maybe even it was just a typo, that word will then be marked as a word that will come up very frequently. So let's say it will come up again in 2 hours' time, or maybe an hour's time. So when we review our words, the word that's most difficult for us will come up the most often. Words that are easy for us will be spaced out in larger intervals. So if there's a word that I never have incorrect, I might see it in 24 hours, 48 hours, a week. It very much depends. So that's how an SRS system works. I mentioned an example of one, that being Memrise. And just to give you another example, Memrise, you can look at pre-made decks, so word lists that have been created by other people, or maybe the app itself. and you can look through the words. So I don't do any English courses. I don't learn any vocabulary for English courses because it's my native language. There are probably words that I could come across that I would need, or maybe don't know, but it's very unlikely. But I use this for other languages, German, for example. But because we're all learning English here, I thought I would show you just an example in English. This is taken from the 400 words of TOEFL Intermediate English deck. And let's have a quick look at how it works, shall we? So as you can see, these words have already been learned at some point. So they have a water droplet there saying now. That means that it's time for me to look at those words again, to review them. Like I mentioned, this isn't a language that I'm learning, so I don't keep track of when I need to review these. These are just words that I've used for other demonstrations of the app. So if I click here, that means that we can look at the words on this list, and you'll see how we go about reviewing them. Okay, so here we can see, you have to excuse the German, right? Maybe you should have changed this to English first. But so it says, type the correct translation in the box. A means of supplying water for agriculture. Okay, so this is a word we would have learned earlier, because the way in which you see the clues on the screen will depend on how well you know that word. So, a means of supplying water for agriculture. Do you know this word? So this is not an easy word. And as you can see, actually, you do have the option to click here to get a tip. Another, maybe a little bit of a cheat. So we see here, it has an N, and this means it's a noun. So the word we're looking for is a noun. And also we have limited letters to choose from here. You could type anything, of course, but it's very likely going to be incorrect then, because we know it's going to use these letters here. Okay, so let's just have a look, shall we? I think this word is probably going to be irrigation. Oh, actually, I just see I typoed there. And is this one R or two R's? That's the question. So, yeah, you see there, it was correct. So, irrigation. I knew it was two R's, by the way. I was dramatic effect. So we have the word irrigation, and it's a means of supplying water to agriculture or for agricultural purposes. So you get the idea. So there are different ways to approach it. You can even click here that you can mark the word yourself as a difficult word, so that it will then come up more frequently, or it will get added directly to your deck of difficult words, that is. Here you can mark it so that it doesn't get shown again, which it depends on you and on the deck that you're learning. I don't like to do that. I think if you're going to learn the words, as long as you've checked beforehand that the words are going to be useful, I don't get rid of words like that because it's a word that I think I'm going to need at some point. It doesn't make sense to just delete it completely. You can, of course, temporarily block it and then come back to it at a later date, but I don't advise just completely deleting words that you're unfamiliar with. Here again, so we see it's a V, so we know this word is a verb. I didn't not read it yet. So to sense or expect something before it happens. And you can also click here. So if you click Ich weiß nicht, so German there, but it would say like I don't know in English. If you click that, then it will show you the answer. Well, actually, will it show you the answer? Let's have a look, shall we? So what happens if I click this? Yeah, okay, so now it shows me the answer again and the definition. So to anticipate, to sense or expect something before it happens. So if you anticipate something, you know it's going to happen. Or you've maybe already said it's going to rain in the afternoon, and then in the afternoon it rains. So you anticipated it. You also have some audio here, so it will tell you the pronunciation. But actually, because of my speaker setup, I'm not sure you would have heard that. But all of the audios here do work. Sometimes you have a male voice and a female voice, so that you can, have the best of both worlds there. But anyway, this video is starting to go on for a while, so I just wanted to show you how to use Memrise. And like I said, it's something that I definitely do recommend. It's something that I like to use with all of my languages. So you can see I use it for German, and it's very useful. But any language, it doesn't really matter how good you are already. It's always good to know vocabulary. And this is something, as long as you're reviewing, you don't have to be actively learning new words every day. As long as you're reviewing your words every day or as often as possible. And once you get into a routine, reviewing words, it doesn't take long at all. And it's what changes them from your passive vocabulary, so from a basic understanding if someone else uses the word, to an active vocabulary, to one where you're able to use that word yourself, which is the main goal. That's something we all want to be striving towards, because understanding words is great, using them ourselves and understanding them even better. So I wish you all luck with your vocabulary. I hope you do try out something like this. Unfortunately for me, Memrise do not offer any affiliation programs, so I get absolutely nothing for recommending Memrise. It's just something that I genuinely do recommend. It's something that I've used from the very beginning. I've reaped the rewards from using it, and I still do use it. So if I were to learn a new language tomorrow, I would do the same. I would also integrate Memrise into my routine for that language. You have to excuse the bell there. It's just struck 10, so the bell chimes on the hour. Unfortunately, that happens when you live in a village. Anyway, coming up to 15 minutes, so I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please do leave a like and subscribe if it was something that you found useful. And feel free to write me in the comments. I always try to write back. Okay, with all that said and done, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care and bye-bye for now. Bye.